Hey guys, David the Fishing Pastor here, and today I want to talk to you about fall bass fishing. Okay, so I know that we're still technically in summer, but we're moving into that late summer into kind of fall transition time period. The mornings are getting cooler, they're getting darker, the evenings are coming earlier, and this is definitely one of my favorite times to go fishing. It's a great opportunity to get out there and catch lots of fish and even some really quality fish. So today I want to just give you some pointers that will hopefully help you get out and get some of those fall transition bass. So the first thing I want to talk to you about today is lures and baits. Like I said, I absolutely love fishing the fall transition and fall itself. And I think one of the biggest reasons for that is that my favorite lure to throw ever has to be a crankbait. Whether it's a lipless crankbait, a square bill crankbait, a mid-diving crankbait, whatever crankbait, I love throwing crankbaits. And I actually have one tied on all year long, but they really excel in the spring and in the fall. So a couple of helpful tips with crankbaits. Number one is know your water. Know whether you need a shallow crankbait or a deep diving crankbait or a mid diving crankbait. Know whether you're fishing where there's structure and so you're deflecting off of that. All of that really helps you. It helps you to not get hung up as much, and it actually definitely helps you to catch more fish. So another helpful tip is, depending on where you're fishing, what the forage is and what the bait fish are, whether it's bluegill, crappie, or the lake behind me that has all of these, but the main forage is actually shad. Matching the hatch can only help you, and it won't hurt you, I promise. Every time I come here, I make sure to have something tied on that matches those shad. Again, those are the main forage here, and you'll find the bass schooling up and chasing the schools of shad. So having something that imitates those shad can definitely help you get more bites. Okay, so let me talk to you about some of the gear that I use to throw crankbaits. Now, if I'm throwing a square bill, a shallow diving crankbait, even a mid diving crankbait, I usually have it on a 7-foot plus rod, and I like a medium action and more of a moderate fast. That way there's more of a parabolic bend in the middle, and it helps keep those fish pinned with those treble hooks. So with shallow diving and mid diving crankbaits, I like to use reels that are either mid-range to a little bit faster. This is my KastKing Assassin reel. This is a 6:3:1 gear ratio reel, and so it's kind of that really good mid-range reel, and this is generally what I'll throw it on. If I have a 7:1:1 reel, I'll also use that as well, and I'll just put some 12-pound fluorocarbon line on there. If you're going to be fishing some deep diving crankbaits, I'd upgrade that rod to a medium heavy rod, just because these baits are heavier and a little bit bigger. And then I'd go with something like the KastKing White Max here that has a slower speed of 5:3:1 gear ratio. These big bills cause a lot of resistance, and using a slower gear ratio will help with that so that you don't get as tired as you throw them. So in the fall transition and in fall, you'll find that these fish are going to start coming up out of the depths a little bit from the heat of summer into the shallows. They're going to start chasing bait fish, again, whether that's shad, whether that's bluegill, whatever it is. They're going to start looking to feed a lot more than they did in the summer. They're not as lethargic anymore. The water's cooled down a bit, and so they get really active. So same principles. Early morning, late evening is always a great time to go out and find those fish. But even in the afternoon, if you can find some cover, that's a great place to look. But a fantastic way to find some fish, number one, is to look for the bait fish. Look for those schools of bait fish wherever they are. Earlier I was fishing some matted grass, and you could hear and see the shad and the bluegill around, and so that's where the bass were. They were exploding on the frog, things like that. So look for where the bait fish are. If you find the bait fish, generally you'll find the bass as well. In the fall and fall transition, there's two main places that I'm going to be looking for fish first. Number one is main lake points. They're going to start staging up there, and they're going to start ambushing the bait fish as they come by. It's an easy meal and an easy way for them to get fattened up before winter. The second place to look in the fall transition and fall is those areas where rivers, creeks, and streams meet the main body of water. You'll find that as they start to move up, they'll be chasing the bait fish into those shallows, and you'll find a lot of the bass in those areas. Okay, so as summer starts to transition out and fall starts to transition in, I hope that these tips help you to find more fish and catch bigger fish. Remember, if you're interested in any of the gear mentioned in this video, it will be linked in the description down below. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and also to pray, fish, repeat. God bless. I'll see you in my next video.